When looking at hurricane forecasts, you can sometimes see a huge difference in the projected path of a storm. These spaghetti plots are issued by many different forecast models. Sometimes they look like they will follow a consistent path, and other times they look like a jumbled mess. Most of the time, about 80% of the models point in one direction, and there's only a couple of outliers. During Hurricane Dorian, forecasters ran into this common occurrence. The problem is that the storm did not follow the consensus, it followed the outlier.
One of the big things can be the differences in the structure of the tropical cyclone itself. Sometimes models don't have the storm strong enough or they have it too strong.
Dr. Michael Brennan is the head of the Hurricane Specialist Unit of the National Hurricane Center and was in charge of the forecast for Hurricane Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian was a great example of how the intensity made a big difference in the eventual track forecast because there was that uncertainty as to whether Dorian would move over Hispaniola or Puerto Rico and come out into the southwestern Atlantic as a weaker, shallower system, or if it would avoid land and be a stronger system.
Hurricane Dorian had 18 out of 20 models in lockstep, but there was one that had the storm hugging the coast of Florida, which was the eventual path that the hurricane took. Hurricane models use complex math formulas to calculate where the storm will go. If one value is a little different from the others, it can make a big difference in the storm's projected path.
If the consensus really isn't changing very much, then there's typically not going to be a lot of reason to make a big change to the forecast in one cycle. So we would tend to look for a consistent shift in the models over maybe 2 or 3 cycles before we would tend to make a big change in the forecast.
The consensus did eventually change, but it took away time people could have used to prepare for a hurricane. Forecasting hurricanes will never be perfect, but occasionally one model will get lucky and predict a path long before the storm follows it. For the everyday weather viewer, it's best not to focus on the many different models, but instead look at the cone forecast put out by the National Hurricane Center. That is the best tool to use if you need to figure out when you need to prepare for a storm. From Macon, Daniel McFarland, WGXA News.